Hello everyone and welcome to part 3 of the CBT session 1. In part 1 we talked about the physical sensations, in part 2 we talked about the behaviours, and in part 3 we're going to talk about your possible triggers and give some hints and tips of how to approach the triggers. So identify your triggers. Just before I start this, don't worry too much if you can't identify all your triggers. It's not majorly important, but you will have certain things that you do avoid. And they're a trigger. People often try to look too deep for triggers. It's not important. You don't have to start digging up all your past and everything. We'll go into that. If there's a certain part of your past that causes you major trauma, then obviously it's something that you need to go into. But it's not important to start digging up loads of history and stuff. It just doesn't work like that. It's all about now and moving forward, not moving backwards. So identifying your triggers. What or when are the times when you are more likely to get anxious? Ask yourself that, put yourself an answer. Maybe before you start this journey, get yourself a little notebook. Maybe I should have possibly said that in video 1. Get a notebook, start it, go again, watch them again and go through, build your journey sort of thing. We'll go through it. We'll actually do a bit of that in video 2, CBT sessions 2. So don't worry too much. If you can see the patterns, then maybe you can do something about those situations and do something different. So this could be certain places, certain people, anytime, any place. See certain things, hear certain things, and think ahead to a certain situation. If you notice any of them particularly cause you anxiety, then that's great. Like I said, if not, don't worry about it. Doing things differently. If avoiding situations and using safety behaviours helps to maintain our anxiety over the long term, then it makes sense that learning to confront it might be uncomfortable in the short term, but will help us take control and help us feel better over time. This is true. Avoiding situations doesn't help. It may feel like it does, but it really doesn't. Make a plan to gradually do the things you normally avoid. So write down all the things you normally avoid, and then we'll work through bit by bit. Let me know what they are. Let me know what the things are that you avoid, and if you want, I'll try and do a video on them particular things, how you could approach them. Baby steps. I've talked about baby steps in my last video. Everything is baby steps, tiny bits at a time. For instance, if you normally avoid going out to big social events at work, then you could start with a small dinner at a restaurant, or even a cafe, or anything, just something where you feel more comfortable with a few close colleagues. Not the annual Christmas party. Whilst it feels uncomfortable, you will learn that you can enjoy these events and that the anxious feelings do go away. And this, an example of this, how many times have you tried talking yourself out of something? Or I'm not going to an event or a party or a birthday or a concert, anything, anything that means you're going out and being with people. And when you actually get there, you have a brilliant time and you come back thinking, what was I doing? I spent 3 days worrying about this, and I've had a brilliant time. It happens through life. I'm sure you'll be able to relate to something in life where you've done that. A lot of us dealing with anxiety will be able to relate to stuff like this almost every day, every week. But think of these things, and this is what we need to conquer, because you don't want to be going through that in life, or not as aggressively anyway. I think each and every one of us struggles with certain motivation and stuff like that, and you have to have a little word with yourself and talk yourself through something. I know I used to do that going out on my motorbike, and I love going out on my bike. But if I was going out on my own and nobody to go with, sort of thing, and right, I'm going to go out on my bike tomorrow, and when it comes to it, oh, can I be bothered? And you have to have a little word with yourself. Look, you're going to get on it, you're going to go, and you're going to love it. So we all got through that. If you have a particular fear, types of places, an example used here is lifts. I don't think it's a great example, but we'll use it, you know. So write down your example. Again, if you want me to do a video on that example and how you could possibly overcome it, I will do. Then you could start by listing different particular places. So smaller lifts, bigger lifts, taller, smaller buildings, glass walls or enclosed, etc. You could start by standing next to a lift for a couple of minutes each day for a couple of weeks. Then slowly build up to standing in the doorway with the doors open. Then getting in the lift with the doors closing. Then to letting the doors close before opening them again. Then to going up one floor. And you can use breathing techniques or self-talk, like challenge your unhelpful thoughts and repeating more realistic thoughts to get you through these times. My thing here, I obviously became room bound, I came house bound sort of thing, and my big thing was going out. It was a big thing for me. I couldn't leave. Really struggled to leave on my own. So one day I opened the front door and I just stood there and then shut the door. Didn't last long. The next day I stepped out and I went out on the front, and that was a really strange moment for me because after a few seconds, maybe a couple of minutes, I became really overwhelmed, and I ended up coming in, closing the door, going on the settee over there, and I cried my eyes out. It just all come over me. I just really, really overwhelmed feeling. But I'd been outside. It's a big thing. Tiny thing to most people, but to me at that moment it was huge. It was mountain, you know. And this is another reason why I say on the group, you know, what is somebody's fear, it may seem nothing to you, but to that person at the time that they're writing on that group about that fear, it's massive to them. So you think of your greatest fear, and that's what that is to them. We are all different, we all suffer different anxieties. So I really struggled going out. I'd got myself into such a mess. So, and then the next day, so I'd been to the door, I'd been a step. The next day I got to the end of the driveway. My driveway's only sort of like, 20 foot, something like that. Got to the end of the driveway, walked back, came in. The next day, went out, got to the next door neighbour's house, come back, in. Next day, 2 doors down, come back, 3 doors down, come back, 4 doors down, and by about the 20th day I was at the end of the road. But slowly but surely I got out there, and then I ended up round the block and a bit further, and this is what I mean, baby steps. Whatever you're choosing to overcome, baby steps. Don't push it. You've got all the time in the world. Tiny steps. Overcome it one bit at a time, and believe me, you will get there. Whatever it is that's triggering you, whatever it is that makes you scared, you will get there. If you normally depend on safety behaviours to help you cope, then list them in order of importance. Then start dropping or not doing the least important, and gradually work your way up over time. I was going to do this in 3 videos, but I'm on 10 minutes now. This bit may take, go on, I'll stop this one here, and I'll do part 4 which will be hints and tips of overcoming things, all in general. I'll put it all into one, and how to overcome it, because otherwise the videos just get a bit too long. They take a long time to upload, they take a long time for you to watch. So yeah, I'll stop this one here and I'll do another one. Alright, so see you soon.